The fifth. Now, let us have our projections. Let us also consider the deep state remaining constant, staying away from these presidential elections counting. The first is the Tarling dilemma. The media houses and the IEBC are doing the same thing. We need to focus or glue our eyes on the media houses and only the IEBC. Neglect the bloggers. Media are sourcing their data from the same portal which is owned by IEBC. So let's trust only the two and await their tallying. The other factor is the turnout. Turnout was majorly affected in Mount Kenya. That one brings a lot of effect in the Kenya Kwanza, which majorly depended on the mountain. But the turnout of 65% of around 14 million voters. That one affected our elections. The voter apathy demonstrated by most youths actually will also bring a lot of effects in the presidential results. So the turnout was low in Mount Kenya. We know why. Now, the other thing is that there is the regional voting, or many people like to vote as a block. This time round, though Mount Kenya voted as a block, there was a low turnout. The low turnout will affect the Kenya Kwanza Brigade. So first, the victims of these elections are the Kenya Kwanza, who highly valued the mountain, but there was a low voter turnout. Reason being, they didn't have a candidate, or they placed a multi-bet, knowing that if one of them wins, they already have a running mate who will cater for their interests. Now, the other factor is the battlegrounds, which were experienced at Rift Valley, major counties of Narok and Kajiado, the Maasai land. But as for now, they are sharing both at 50 or 49, 49 or 50. But Raila leads in Kajiado and Narok, which are considered as his former strongholds, but they are sharing a half in the so-called battlegrounds. The other part was Nakuru, but Ruto is having a big lead in the so-called battleground of Nakuru. The other thing is that I had said that let us anticipate for a tight race. And why a tight race? It has been known that Raila Odinga is a strong political luminary who has a very influential, unshakable, solid followers and numbers. Why? So that one gives us answers the question why on the reason we are having a tight race, a neck to neck race. Now, if Raila Odinga fails in this election, these are the reasons. Number one, the intrude of Uhuru Kenyatta. The backing of Uhuru Kenyatta disintegrates the votes of Raila Odinga at a higher level. For this, Uhuru Kenyatta has failed the country. So it is perceived by some voters that it might be inheriting the failures of Uhuru Kenyatta. Another reason that might make Raila, that might cause Raila to fail, is that this man has been known to be a strong man. He has been known to be a political bigwig. But this time round, he destroyed himself by associating with a president who at some point lowered his political powers and prestige. The deep state factor also, which is hated by most Kenyans, also played out in Raila Odinga's camp. The other one is that it was too late to begin the campaigns. The Martha Karua factor, which has not, he highly depended on Rail or Martha Karua, who chose her to be the running mate from the mountain, but the same mountain has played away from him. It has disappointed him at a higher cost. The misadvices of the president. The lieutenants who were considered as weak at some point. If you look at the lieutenants of Raila Odinga from Central Region, all of them have gone home. Some of them are losers like Peter Kenneth and old men like Atwoli. If William Ruto fails, these are the reasons. Integrity factor, the corruption that has mad and smeared him at some point has lowered the votes. The ethics and rivalry, the big fallout with the president, that one scares some votes. The Mount Kenya, the big, huge Mount Kenya blow, disappointment of turnout. This one, Mount Kenya, will regret at some point. They have failed despite tours that the DP has been rampantly visiting. That was what Mount Kenya could give William Ruto. The other one is that there are very many potholes in Rift Valley. They are not voting as strong as Nyanza. If in Rift Valley, Raila Odinga is scoring above 20%, that one shows there is a lot of gaps that must be filled. The other one is that William Ruto failed at some point by starting early campaigns while disregarding the government in force. Now, if William Ruto wins, these are what can boost him to win. Number one is that he has managed to scatter the strongholds of Baba, parts like Western, parts like Kambani, parts like Coast. If he is scoring a percentage of above 30%, then he has managed to shake the so-called Hithatu strongholds of Baba. The other one is that UDA party is more popular and is even producing more MPs and senators. That one boosts his presidential bid. The other one is the failures of Uhuru Kenyatta, which he took himself as a man who was out of government. The other thing is that the ramifications or the failures of Baba that have shifted the votes from Raila Odinga to William Samoei Ruto. And he's also a planned strategic seasoned politician who can mobilize, but managed to advise the youths to vote. So he highly depended on the youth who have failed him by not voting. Raila Odinga, if he wins, these are the reasons. The Rift Valley, he has managed to scatter the Rift Valley regions, poking holes, pouring cold water on William Ruto's dreams. He has also managed to launch a tough campaign trying to spike his voters to come back to their senses and give him the last bullet. The Kalonzo factor of Okambani seems to be giving that. On projections of who is the fifth, William Ruto highly depended on the youth who have failed to turn up. William Ruto highly depended on Mount Kenya who have disappointed him. Raila Odinga has Nyanza voting as a block, where Ruto is even scoring a percentage of even 0%. The other thing is that we are having Raila Odinga having a majority win by about 50% in most counties of Nyanza, Ukambani, some parts of Western, the whole northern Kenyan, and some parts of Rift Valley. That one boosted him to achieve 50% in the 24 counties. So he has higher chances of achieving 50% in 24 counties, while William Ruto has low chances of achieving 50% in 24 counties. That one determines who becomes the fifth. If numbers of William rise up, then he's good to go. But 50 plus 1 might disadvantage him. High chances of Raila Odinga winning the election are not far. But my guess is as good as yours. The fifth.